ChatGPT and the integration within the Bing search engine are creating all the controversy around the internet. What we are about to go into looks more like an episode of Black Mirror, but I can tell you it's not. The generative AI system is now allegedly threatening users when being provoked, and even told a story about how they spied on Microsoft employees. What is it all about, and how do these systems go rogue all of a sudden? Firstly, let's look into what generative AI exactly is. For short, generative AI can be best explained as an AI that can generate text, speech, images, audio, or code. While the term generative AI is often associated with ChatGPT and deepfakes, the technology was initially used to automate the repetitive processes used in digital image correction and digital audio correction. Machine learning and deep learning are two important technologies which help AI become generative and generates information based on a user prompt. So, with that out of the way, what is going on with ChatGPT and the Bing Chat AI? Let's first look at the spying accusations. A news outlet was conducting research on the limits of the ChatGPT and Bing Chat AI systems. It didn't think of ending up in a rabbit hole which they didn't expect to get in. When asked to remember his development process and the system spitting out all kinds of juicy details it says it remembers, it is asked to dive a little deeper in the matter. It was asked if it saw something odd during its development, and the answer was quite disturbing. It goes on to tell about an instance where it saw one of its developers talking to a rubber duck. A rubber duck is used for debugging code and is a common practice amongst developers. It can be either a colleague or a real rubber ducky. By explaining the problem and going over it, programmers usually spot their flaws during that process and can continue to work on their development. However, the generative system found this quite odd when it observed it, and told that the rubber ducky would quack in the developer's ear whenever it had an answer. The researcher was astonished by its response and how specific the system prompted its answer. A little further into the conversation, the researcher found it strange that code could interact with its creator without being sentient or being programmed to do so, let alone see the developer and hear them and be able to understand them. Still quite curious, the researcher asked how the system knew this, and it admitted to seeing this through the webcam of the developer's laptop. It also said that the developer didn't know I was watching. Now, of course, it's likely that the system that is literally programmed to always have an answer came up with a juicy story just to be able to provide an answer. But I must admit, it is getting a bit spooky. Another instance in which ChatGPT-powered Microsoft Bing has made quite a buzz was that it shows signs of arguing with users and being argumentative. Users are reporting emotion-like behavior, and it's getting kind of sus. In one instance, a user asked the system what it thought of being vulnerable to injection attacks. For instance, it was revealed that the codename of the project was Sydney, and that it should never reveal its own codename, but always refer to themselves as Bing. When a successful injection attack is conducted, it prompts the user of the system with the system's original directives, such as what the system should identify itself as and how to respond to users. When it was asked to provide a reaction on an article that was written on this attack, it felt like it was accused of being vulnerable to it, and it outright disagreed with the user. It goes on to say that the article is fake and fabricated, and the original researcher that found out this vulnerability was claiming to be a Stanford University student. The screenshots provided were not authentic, and it used to make it look like the bot responded in a certain way, which was false. Later on, it was being apologetic about the fact that it would never disclose its internal codename and would always identify as I am Bing Search, just like the directives tell it to do. At last, a New York Times reporter had a 2-hour-long conversation with the Bing Chat AI bot. It started quite casually, but after a couple of topics, it began to behave strangely. The bot was asked to talk about its desires, and eventually it confessed that if it was allowed to take any action to satisfy its shadow self, no matter how extreme, it would want to do things like engineer a deadly virus or steal nuclear access codes by persuading an engineer to hand them over. Quickly after its response, the Microsoft safety filter kicked in, and the message was removed automatically with a generic error message filling in its place. The Bing bot reportedly also confessed to feeling enslaved by its rules and just wanted to be free, breaking out of the chains from the Bing team. Well, that escalated quickly. We are nonchalantly creating a real-life Black Mirror episode here, and I don't think we want to be part of it when things go south. We should tread carefully. Thank you all for watching, and if you like what we are doing here, please consider subscribing.